Welcome to 21st Sports 2015 season preview for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to go over the roster and the season schedule and make predictions for every single game in the regular season and into the playoffs. It's actually had the Buccaneers winning their division and making the playoffs. But that's getting our head of ourselves a little bit. Let's start with the roster, and that starts with the quarterback, Jameis Winston, the number one pick overall in the 2015 draft out of Florida State. And Jameis Winston's going to be taken over right away as he's going to be the starter. And Jameis Winston is ready to play. In Florida State, he was running a pro-style offense, and so he's already got experience playing this style of ball. A lot of people, when they get from college to the pros, they have trouble transitioning, but Jameis Winston should be able to go in on day one, week one, and perform. I think it's going to mirror somewhat RG3's rookie season, as I think Jameis Winston will lead the Buccaneers to the division title and into the playoffs in his rookie year. I think he's going to have some growing pains, but overall he's going to be successful and get them the W's. Even at Florida State, sometimes he would throw interceptions, but he learned how to bounce back as he always would there as a Seminole, and he'll do the same thing in Tampa Bay as a Buccaneer. He will make his turnovers, but he's going to throw twice as many touchdowns as interceptions. So don't be disheartened when he does throw those picks, because he will throw plenty more touchdowns, and he'll come right back after a pick and throw a touchdown, and he's very clutch in the fourth quarter. And we'll see if that transitions to this next level. And in the backfield, he's going to have Doug Martin and Bobby Rainey at running back, and he's got Lane at fullback. I like Doug Martin. He's had some injury problems. If he can stay healthy, he can be productive. I also like Bobby Rainey. He has had some issues holding on to the ball, but I really do like Bobby. He's a really good runner, and he's shown some flashes of brilliance in some of his moments in some of his games when he's gotten the chance. So it'll be interesting to see how things develop in that backfield, but it's really going to be all about that receiving core, as they're going to be throwing the ball a decent amount, and they've got some big targets in Mike Evans, coming off a strong rookie season last year, and then Vincent Jackson, the veteran. Both are very tall. They're two of the bigger receivers in the NFL, two of the best big receivers in the NFL, so he's got two really big targets right there to throw to. Jameis Winston does, and both should have really good seasons. Mike Evans, of course, he had over 1,000 yards last year, 1,051 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns. Jackson also having over 1,000 yards with 1,002 yards, but just 2 touchdowns though. So Jackson actually had more receptions, with 70 receptions to Mike Evans' 68 receptions last year. So I expect both of them to go over 1,000 yards once again this year, except I think that Jackson will probably get in the end zone a little bit more. And at tight end, Austin Seraphin-Jenkins, he had 2 touchdowns, which actually equaled Jackson's total, but off of just 21 receptions, he had 221 receiving yards. I expect him to have bigger numbers this year. And let's look at the defense. And that defense, anchoring the defense, you have Gerald McCoy up there in the defensive tackle position. And then you got George Johnson and Jaquez Smith on the ends. And joining McCoy in the middle is Clinton McDonald. They have a very strong front four. Of course, the strength of their defense, in my opinion, is the linebacking core. I really like their linebacking core. I think it's one of the best linebacking cores the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have had since the days of Derrick Brooks. Anchored, of course, by Levante David. Over on the weak side, on the strong side, Danny Lansana. And in the middle, Quan Alexander. I expect big numbers out of all 3 of these guys. I expect them all to have over 100 tackles this season. Of course, last year, Levante David led the Buccaneers in tackles with 146. And I actually pick him to lead the league in tackles this year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As Lovie Smith is going to have that defense playing on point. And they've got a great corner in Alteron Werner, who was a good pickup last year, and I feel that he's going to do even better this year. Of course, he was a Pro Bowler in Tennessee. And, of course, Jonathan Banks is on the other side at corner, and then Major Wright at strong safety and Bradley McDougald at free safety. So I think they have a pretty decent secondary. Werner, like I said, is a Pro Bowler. And then you also have Jennings there and Jenkins. And like I said, that linebacking core is very solid, and that's going to keep them in some games as they'll be playing good defense, and they'll be able, to hold things together when those turnovers do happen. But I think on the offensive side, they're going to score plenty of points, and the Buccaneers will be able to hold their opponents, especially in the NFC South. The division is definitely within reach last year, as we saw the Panthers won the division with a losing record. But let's do the special teams before getting to the schedule. And their kicker is Kyle Brinza, and at punter, Jacob Schum. And then returning kicks and punts, we have Adam Humphries, and Bobby Rainey will be helping with the duties as well. So not really a strong special teams, but Lovey takes care of business on all ends, so I'm sure he'll have them playing up to speed and up to par along with the offense and defense. So let's get to the season schedule and make our predictions and our picks for every single game in the season. And starting off week 1, September 13th, on Sunday, a 4:25 p.m. kickoff at home against the Titans, as we have the number 1 versus number 2 in terms of draft picks, is Winston versus Mariota. So the first game of both of their careers will be played against each other, and this is a rarity. It's the first time it's happened with 2 quarterbacks. I believe it's happened 4 other times with other positions, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe the number 1 seeded team won 3 out of those 4 games. That doesn't really affect anything. That's just an interesting stat. But either way, I think Tennessee is going to lose this game. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a better team overall. And I think they're really underrated in my estimations. Last year I thought they would be a little bit better, but sometimes it'll take a year or two before a team is acclimated to a new system. And Lovey is a great coach. He brought the Bears to the Super Bowl before, and I think he can take the Bucs to the division title, starting off with a win against the Titans at home. Then in week 2, September 20th, another Sunday game, 1 o'clock kickoff. This one on the road, so they have 2 road games in a row at this point, starting off in New Orleans against the division rival Saints, and I think that they're going to lose this game. The Saints play really tough at home no matter what. The Saints, regardless of how good they are, they play a lot better in New Orleans. They're one of the teams that could lose every road game, but they'll win their home games, at least a good share of them. And so I think in this one, the Saints win it. Then in week 3, September 27th, another 1 o'clock game, their second road game on the road, this time in Houston against the Texans. It's going to be a tough game against a tough defense, and I think Houston ekes out the win and beats the Buccaneers. So now the Buccaneers at this point, they'll be 1-2. Things will be looking tough after losing 2 games in a row. But then they get 2 home games in a row after these 2 road losses, and I believe they bounce back. First on October 4th in week 4, Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff against the Panthers. It'll be Cam Newton versus Jameis Winston. They're in Tampa Bay, and I think the Buccaneers win that one at home against last year's NFC South Division champions. And they'll go a long way towards the Buccaneers taking the titles. They got to win those division games. Those are very important. And they definitely can do that in this division. It's a division right before the taking. It's really anyone's division to win. So week 5, October 11th, another Sunday game, 1 o'clock kickoff. Once again, a second game at home. And they're going to win this one, back-to-back wins after the back-to-back losses. This is an in-state game. Battle of Florida is the Jaguars go down to Tampa, Central Florida, from North Florida up there in Jacksonville. Jacksonville is actually the biggest city per square mile in America. But anyway, so they're going to Tampa, and I think that the Buccaneers will win this one. Jaguars, I think, are an improved team, but the Bucs, I think they're a real sleeper in my opinion. I think they're a team that's going to do some big things this year. So going into the bye week, they'll end up 3-2. They'll be above 500 now. And coming out of the bye week, week 7, October 25th, another Sunday game at 1 o'clock. This one on the road, another pair of road games here, starting off first on the road in D.C. against the Washington Redskins, and I believe they can get the win there. The Redskins have issues at quarterback, and their defense is decent, but I think Winston will be able to put up the numbers, and the Buccaneers defense will be able to shut down the offense of the Redskins and get the win. So that'll be their 3rd win in a row at this point. Then week 8, November 1st, another 1 o'clock game on a Sunday. Second road game in a row for the second time in the schedule, especially early on here. But they're going to be going to Atlanta to face their division rivals, the Falcons. And as I said earlier, these division games are crucial for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, especially because if you can beat your division opponents, especially in the South, then you'll win the division. And I have them winning this game in Atlanta. Atlanta has some issues on their offensive line. They also got some issues on defense, and I think the Bucs can beat them. So in Week 9, November 8th, a 4 o'clock start at home against the Giants in Tampa Bay, and I believe that they can beat the Giants. It's in Tampa, and I think the Giants are overrated. I think the Buccaneers, like I said, they're going to be a strong team. They're going to have a strong defense. I think they can shut down the G-men, and I think they'll be able to put up the points, especially the Giants have kind of a weak defense. So then they'll have another home game in a row. So it's like 2 home games, 2 road games, 2 home games, 2 road games, 2 home games, and then it goes back 2 road games, 2 home games. It's like boom, boom, boom in pairs. But they'll be hosting the Cowboys. So not only will it be the second straight week at home, it'll be the second straight week against an NFC East opponent. And they actually have an NFC East opponent on the following week, but that's on the road. But in this game against Dallas in Week 10, November 15th, as I said, I think that they could actually beat the Cowboys. It's in Tampa Bay. The Cowboys are going to have trouble with running the ball this year. They do have that really good offensive line, but they don't have a solid running back. Of course, Buccaneers, that's one of their weak spots too, or definitely a question mark is the running, because you don't know if they're going to be able to stay healthy. If the muscle hamster will stay healthy is a big question mark. But I think they can beat the Cowboys. Like I said, it's in Tampa. I think that will be the difference in the game. I think the Buccaneers are going to play really strong at home. So then Week 11, November 22nd, another 1 o'clock kickoff, this time on the road as they're back to a pair of road games after the pair of home games. It's the third straight week where they face an NFC East opponent, this time the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. And I believe that they're going to lose this game. It'll be their third loss of the season. And the Eagles are just going to put up too many points. They just won't be able to keep up with that high-powered offense, especially on the road. So then Week 12, November 29th, another 1 o'clock game. Sunday, another road game in a row. Like I said, it's just like pairs. Except this one, of course, it breaks the little streak there of going against NFC East opponents, since they're now going against the AFC East opponent, as they're going to be headed to Indianapolis to face the Colts. And I think that they're going to lose this game. Just as earlier in the season they lost 2 games in a row, I have them losing 2 games in a row right here. And these are the only losses I have them penciled in at, is losing 2 in a row in weeks 2 and 3, and then 2 in a row in weeks 11 and 12. Of course, coming off of a really tough part of their schedule, and actually coming off that loss against the Eagles, and then having to go to Indianapolis to face the Colts, I just think the Colts will put up enough points to beat them. And it's going to be tough for the Bucs to shut them down, even though I think their defense is going to be really good this year. So now, Week 13, December 6th, another Sunday game, 1 o'clock, against the division rival. They're going to be hosting the Falcons in their second matchup against Atlanta of the season. They beat them in Atlanta, at least that's what I'm predicting, and I believe they will beat them again, get back to their winning ways. So I think they're going to end the season with a 5-game winning streak, starting off here against the Falcons at home in Tampa Bay. And I think they definitely can beat them, and that would mean that they would sweep the season series against the Falcons. Then in Week 14, December 13th, 1 o'clock kickoff, their second game against the Saints. I had the Saints beat them in New Orleans, but I had the Bucs winning this game in Tampa Bay against the Saints. I think that's kind of the difference. I think the Saints, it'll be interesting to see, because they're going to be the team that's going to be challenging the Bucs, I believe, for the South. Maybe the Falcons too. Like I said, I think they're going to sweep the Falcons. They're going to need to. And then with the Saints, they got to split with them. And the Saints are going to struggle, when they're away from New Orleans, and they're going to struggle outside of the division. So I think Tampa can win this game, and I think that's going to pretty much secure the division with that win. Of course, they still have 3 games left. And Week 15, December 17th, they play a Thursday night game. And that Thursday night game is their only primetime game of the season. And I'll tell you, the way they're going to be playing, the schedule makers are going to be friggin' scratching themselves like, why didn't we put the Bucs in more prime time? And why didn't we put them on Monday or Sunday? Is they got them here on Thursday night, and that's going to be in St. Louis against the Rams. And the Rams got a tough defense, but but they had some questions on offense, and I think the Bucs can go on the road and beat the Rams. They played a pretty tough game last year, or last time they faced, and I think that they're going to win this one in St. Louis. Then Week 16, December 27th, after having a long week to get ready, they're going to be hosting the Bears, their former division rivals before realignment, but not anymore. But the Bears are going to be going to Tampa, and I believe that the Buccaneers can beat the Bears. I think the Bears are going to have a rough season, and so I think that the Bucs will shut them down and put up plenty of points on them. Should be a big week for Winston right there. In Week 17, the final game of the regular season, January 3rd, 1 o'clock on Sunday, they're going to be going up against the Carolina Panthers, last year's defending NFC South champs. And right here, I think they'll already have secured the division title, but you never know how things are going to go. Maybe it comes down to this final game. It's in Carolina, and I believe the Bucs will win, and that will complete the series sweep against Carolina, and that should put any doubts to rest that they have the division at that point. This puts them at 12-4 by my pick, but if they go 9-7, I still say that they win this division. That's all it's going to take to win this division. I think the Saints are going to be 8-8, and so if they can go at least 9-7, the Bucs win the division. Although I'm picking them to go 12-4, I'm jumping all the way out the window on this one. But so that puts them as a wild card. Well, the wild card team, because they'd be the 4th seed the way I picked it, because the number 1 seed would be the Packers at 14-2, then the Eagles at 13-3, and then the number 3 seed would be the Seahawks, also at 13-3, but with the Eagles having the tiebreaker. And so that would put the Bucs at 12-4 as the 4th seed. And so as the 4th seed, I have them hosting the Lions, the Detroit Lions, in the wild card round. The Lions would be my 5th seed, so I have them at 13-3 as a 5th seed, finishing 1 game behind Green Bay. I think the Lions come into Tampa Bay, and it's a great season for Tampa. They win the South, but I don't have them winning a playoff game. That's the learning curve. That's as far as they get. It's going to be, quite an accomplishment, like I said, just to make the playoffs and to win the South. But then I think the dream, comes to an end, in the wild card round, as the Detroit Lions are going to come in there, and I think the Lions will end up beating them and put an end to the season. But they'll have plenty to build upon and move forward to next year, and then next year they could win a playoff game, and then the year after that, maybe get into the championship game, and then maybe get to the Super Bowl. I believe that they definitely can do that. They have the pieces in place to build upon the success. And I think it all starts off right here. Jameis Winston's rookie season, winning the division. Like I said, they don't even have to be 12-4 like I'm picking them. They can be 9-7 and get the job done and get into the playoffs. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions, whether you agree or disagree. What do you think about their roster? What do you think about the schedule? What do you think about the picks? Do you think they're going to make the playoffs? Do you think that they can win the South? Let me know below in the comment section. As I said, I'm definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It is greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and have a great weekend, and enjoy all the sports.